Welcome back. We're looking at part 4 of a series of turning our hearts towards home, and today we're going to focus on true love, and that is our brides. Let me warn you guys, this is going to be a in-your-face discussion. We're going to be talking about what scriptures tell us about our relationship with our wives, and we've got to take a look at the fact that Jesus exhibits a love for the bride of Christ, and we are to be exhibiting that as well. And listen to me as we look at Ephesians 5:25, because it says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her." Men, remember that movie Mission Impossible? Well, I want to challenge you, because this is an incredible mission that we have been given as men, to love our wives just as Christ loved his bride, the church. And he, in fact, gave his life up for her. Wow. Even as Jesus faced opposition, rejection, betrayal, he never quit loving or serving his bride. God gave us the capacity to love in that way. And to love like Christ means that we are to love more than we want to be loved. We want to serve more than we want to be served. And that's totally contrary to my natural inclination. To be honest with you, and if you were to talk to Lori, my wife, my desire is to be more loved by Lori more than I love her. And if things do not go my way, if they don't go the way that I want them to go in my relationship with my wife, if she doesn't respect me or approve, or if we disagree, does that change my mission? Absolutely not. No way. That didn't change Christ's example. He went as so far as, on the Last Supper, he went and washed the disciples' feet, even as Judas was leaving to betray him. In fact, 1 Peter 3:7 says, "Live with your wives in an understanding way. Show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life." So husbands and wives are both recipients of God's grace. So when your wife's comment stings, do you respond with grace? Do you operate under grace? Is it that understanding that 1 Peter talks about? Do you treat her as Christ treats you? Or do you turn on her and dish it back and show her who's boss? Well, if I'm to be the spiritual leader, I have to model Christ's love and grace to my bride. Look with me to the Song of Solomon in chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. These verses are strong verses. They give us insight for what it's like to pursuing a committed love. It says, "Set as me a seal on your heart, a seal on your arm, for love is as strong as death. Jealousy is fierce as the grave. It are flashes of fire, the very flame of the Lord. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can floods drown it out." For the record, the Hebrew word here, love, in this passage, is that word hava. Ahava means to give. It's a giving love. And I want to read a quote that comes from Family Life about Havava love. Havava love is a clinging love. I'm not going anywhere love. Ahava love is strong as death. It flashes with fury. It's sourced to the consuming fire that is in God himself. All the oceans covering the earth cannot drown Ahava love. It is worth more than all the treasures of the world. Well, given the normal stuff of marriage, the messiness and the brokenness, the difficulties and things that come, and being weary as it can be, we have to remember that our vows are made precisely for such experiences. You do not really need someone to make a vow to stick with someone when things are going well and there's a young love. No issues, right? The inclination to cut and run does not exist there. But in our low times in our marriage is where the covenants were made for. Ahava love is faithful to the end, because Christians are a people who lean in the covenant of grace. We're a people that say, no, I am not going to bail. I have given myself for better, for worse to this person. If we're going to be faithful to the end, we will often have to lean into that covenant that we made with our spouse, asking the Lord's help and empowerment. An elderly gentleman was up early to head up to the memory care unit to spend the entire day with his bride. She no longer recognized him or acknowledged his presence. His family was concerned and said, "Dad, you don't have to be up here every day. She doesn't even remember you." His response is classic. "She may not know who I am, but I know who she is. She is my beautiful bride, to whom I promised that I would be there in sickness and in health." Men, are we committed to completing our mission of loving our wives with a Hahava love? I'm not going anywhere love. You see, that's what's needed today. And it's only by God's grace that He will give you that strength to stick with it when the going gets tough. May God bless you, men, as you think about your own relationship with your wife.